The Nutcracker Ballet has captivated audiences with its graceful choreography and enchanting score since its debut in 1892. But over the decades, this Russian ballet has grown from a Christmas classic to a moneymaker for dance companies. To talk more about the business of holiday entertainment like the Nutcracker, I'm joined now by Elizabeth Kaye. She's a dance historian for the American Ballet Theater. Thank you so much for coming on, especially during this peak time. Talk to us about the Nutcracker. Why is it so popular and profitable?
Well, I think it's popular because we tend to favor tradition at Christmas time. And the Nutcracker is such a delightful ballet in all of its many iterations that it can be enjoyed by anybody, whether they're very young or very old. And attending a performance of Nutcracker has therefore become, for many families, as much a part of Christmas as decorating the tree or exchanging presents. And people just go back to it year after year after year. You know, you take your 3-year-old and then there's an 8-year-old and it just goes on and on.
And then it becomes generational in a sense. So why do U.S. productions stand out globally, do you think?
I think they stand out mostly because of two different productions. And the first was the production choreographed by George Balanchine for his New York City Ballet in 1954. That was the production that was so successful and so beautiful that it convinced other companies that having a Nutcracker was not only good art, but also good business. And then the other Nutcracker that I think is very important is the one that was created by Mikhail Baryshnikov for American Ballet Theater in 1976. And that ballet has become, they filmed it, and it is the best-selling ballet video of all time. So, you know, there's just something about the Nutcracker. I personally believe it begins with the incredible Tchaikovsky music, and that's really, that's why it works, because all these Nutcrackers are so different from one another, but the one thing they have in common is that great score.
Yeah, and you know, as Bella pointed out, I mean, so many production companies really count on it and the revenue from the Nutcracker yearly. So how was it impacted by COVID? Did you see a big problem there? And are the audiences coming back at pre-pandemic numbers now?
You know, ballet companies were hit horribly, horribly hard by COVID because, I mean, after all, how did they make money? They make money by performing, and for a few years, they couldn't perform. In the beginning, when the pandemic first ended, attendance was sparse because people were really still not comfortable with the idea of sitting for a couple of hours in a room where there were lots of other people. But in the last year, the audiences have come back, and I feel absolutely confident that this issue of, you know, of the losses that they suffered is all going to be rectified in the coming years.
You know, I guess a sign of real success, though, is to see knockoff versions, if you will. I mean, we know the Nutcracker is popular. We heard in Isabella's story that, you know, it's not just ballet companies. You've got the Nutcracker on ice, the Tap Cracker, you've got a hip-hop version. Talk to me about all of these, and are they successful as well?
I think you could do the Nutcracker on roller skates and it would be successful. You know, it's that music. Again, it doesn't matter. If it is called the Nutcracker, it will be successful, which means it will make money. And that means somebody will end up doing it. Nutcracker on ice, yes, absolutely is successful. Tap Cracker is successful. There's a choreographer, a contemporary choreographer named Mark Morris, who years ago did a Nutcracker that is very idiosyncratic called the Hard Nut. So within all forms of dance, within all forms of movement, the Nutcracker just works. And the funny thing about it is that Tchaikovsky, who's really responsible for this, was not happy with the Nutcracker when it first came out in 1892. And the night of its premiere, he wrote to a friend and he said, in spite of all the sumptuousness, it did turn out to be rather boring. So I think Tchaikovsky would be absolutely blown away if he could see that this has become the most popular and the most revered in many ways ballet of all time.
As a historian, does anything rival it?
The one that rivals it is another Tchaikovsky ballet, and that's Swan Lake. Those two ballets really stand apart in terms of if you put them on, people will come. There's no question about it. And the other one that would kind of be in that category, just a little bit lesser, is another Tchaikovsky ballet, which is The Sleeping Beauty. So Balanchine said, without Tchaikovsky, there would be no ballet. I think he meant that absolutely literally.
Well, he certainly had the hat trick there. Briefly, we've got about 20 seconds. Any tips on if I want to get a ticket to see Nutcracker, how do you find a cheap deal?
Buy early, because theaters now do dynamic pricing, and the more tickets they sell, the higher the cost gets. So be the first one to get your tickets.
All right. Elizabeth, what a delight. Thank you so much, and have a great 2025.
Thank you. Take care, Mike. Bye-bye.